Hello, everyone. We've got a great discussion for you today. We've got Kestrel Linder, who is the co-founder and CEO of GiveCampus. It's a fundraising platform for educational purposes for schools. So stick around. You want to learn more about this.
Welcome to the Your Mark on the World show with your champion of social good, Devin D. Thorpe.
Kestrel, welcome to the show.
Great to be with you, Devin.
And well, we're thrilled to have you. I wonder, Kestrel, if you would just take a minute and give us a quick overview of GiveCampus.
Sure. GiveCampus is a digital fundraising platform that we built from the ground up exclusively for nonprofit educational institutions. So we work with colleges, universities, and K-12 schools in 45 U.S. states, as well as the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, and a handful of foreign countries. Schools use our platform to raise money for all of their institutional priorities, from academics to the student experience to athletics and beyond.
Give us, could you give us like a case study, an example, get a little granular with us and tell us how one school uses it effectively?
Sure. So something that's become very popular in the educational fundraising community over the last several years are giving days. These very short-term, 24, sometimes 48-hour fundraising blitzes where an institution will marshal a tremendous amount of resources to get its community excited about giving back. And sometimes these fundraising events are paired with service events and reunions and homecomings and things like that. And over the last several years, we've had about 400 different educational institutions use GiveCampus specifically for this purpose, to have a fun digital experience for their donors where everyone can come online, see the same things, watch the progress of the fundraising initiative over the course of a day or two, share easily on social media to talk about their giving and the reasons that they're giving back and supporting their alma mater or maybe their child's school. And at the end of the day, typically the institution has successfully engaged not only a lot of people who consistently give back to that school, but what we're seeing that's very exciting is these sorts of fundraising events are engaging a lot of people who have never made a gift previously to a school or who do so only inconsistently. And I think that's one of the very exciting use cases that we've seen over the last few years.
Do any of your schools participate in Giving Tuesday for their Giving Day, or do they all do it on other days?
Nearly all, I would say just about all of the schools that we work with participate in Giving Tuesday, at least to a certain extent. I think what a lot of educational institutions have found, especially over the last year or two, is that Giving Tuesday, which is a wonderful event, it's a very crowded space. I wake up on Giving Tuesday and my email inbox is filled with wonderful communications and solicitations from all of the nonprofits that I've ever come into contact with. And for educational institutions, which are already struggling to capture the attention of their alumni and others to give back to them, this can be very challenging. So what we typically see a lot of schools doing, or have started to see them doing over the last year or two, is ensuring that they are amongst the nonprofits that communicate with you on Giving Tuesday. But many of them are indeed moving their all-out giving day or 24-hour giving challenge to another date somewhere else on the calendar where they don't have quite as much competition for people's time and attention.
Interesting. Well, I appreciate you helping me drill down and see the light there. I did a 24-hour stream-a-thon last year for Giving Tuesday, so I have a fascination with that date, so I appreciate you sharing. And we do plan to do that again this year. So, Kestrel, what are some of the big wins that you've notched over the last while since you launched GiveCampus?
Yeah, well, we're 3.5 years old, so we're the company itself is still relatively young, but we are very proud today to work with 505 educational institutions. So we've grown very rapidly. We have a wonderful community of schools. And I think the biggest win, frankly, has been generating that much excitement around the product and the service that we provide, and growing such a wonderful and diverse community. I am personally perhaps most proud of how much variance there is between and across our community of schools. We work with Ivy League universities, we work with top-ranked private liberal arts colleges, we work with big public schools, we work with community colleges, junior colleges, technical colleges, private high schools, and even public high schools. And I think building a product that is both accessible to such a great diversity of schools and that delivers value to all different types of schools has been something that we're continuing to work on, to be very clear, but very happy of the progress we've made thus far.
What is your value proposition to the schools you serve? What differentiates you from Fundly or GoFundMe or you name it, the other countless resources out there for fundraising online?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly won't hide the fact that we drew a lot of our inspiration for GiveCampus from some of the fundraising platforms that have, frankly, revolutionized the funding model for so many other industries, as well as for entrepreneurs, creative artists, musicians who are able to leverage Kickstarter, Indiegogo, GoFundMe to raise money in a way that they never could before. And in fact, when my co-founder and I started this company, we asked many schools around the country, why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you using those tools? And I would characterize the overall response as, that's very interesting to us, but none of those platforms were built for us, for schools specifically. Schools fundraise in a certain way. They treat their brand in a certain way. There are mechanics about how data is collected and how money is actually transferred between donors and an institution's bank account that may not be unique, but are quite different from how a lot of other platforms are built. And we built GiveCampus, again, exclusively for schools. So from day one, we were focused only on a single type of user, a nonprofit educational institution. So we've accounted for all of their unique and not so unique needs around everything from branding to data collection to money transfer to even functionality that is really tailored to the needs of a school. People have a special connection with the place where they get an education or where their child gets an education. There's an affinity that already exists with individuals and their school. And we've designed a lot of our platform to help institutions tap into that connection that already exists.
It's a great strategy, a great niche. And it's, the great thing about this niche is it's huge. You say you're in 45 states, have 500 schools, but without wishing to suggest that you aren't making good progress, that's a tiny fraction of the market, isn't it? As big as that sounds, there are thousands of schools you could be serving, right?
That's right. So, and we have all our eyes set on every single institution, which, just to speak about the scale here, there are about 2,500 institutions of higher education, four-year institutions of higher education. There are about 2,000 two-year institutions, community colleges, junior colleges, technical colleges. And then there are thousands and thousands of private K-12 schools, to say nothing of the tens of thousands of public K-12 schools. And we've accessed today and are working today with a little more than 10% of all of the four-year institutions of higher education. But that means that there's about 90% to go just in that one segment of the educational market. We're excited about that challenge. We're excited about that task for our company. And frankly, one of the things that we find energizing about how much more there is there is with every school that we welcome to our community, that school makes us better. They teach us things that we didn't know before. They force us to enhance the product in ways that we had not already considered, and they help us as the host of all of this fundraising identify and generate additional lessons learned and best practices, which we're then able to distribute across our entire community. And that's a big focus of ours, is not just on being the technology that powers all of this fundraising for schools, but also helping schools figure out how to do this type of fundraising very well. There are things that we now know very clearly do not work, and other things that very clearly do work, whether it's Harvard University or a private K-5 school in New Mexico. And we're very energized to figure out more of those things that work and don't work, and make sure that every school has access to that information, because so many of the schools that we work with especially have very limited resources. And it's very inspiring for our team to be able to shed light on what can otherwise be a very intimidating proposition for one person who might be sort of all alone trying to raise much needed resources for a small school.
Excellent. Well, Kestrel, what's the most important lesson you've learned since you launched GiveCampus?
I've learned many, many lessons. So it's probably very difficult for me to pinpoint one single most important lesson. But I would say that, you know, one of the most important lessons that I've learned is our company is very driven by its mission to help schools more effectively and more efficiently fundraise so that they can advance the quality, the accessibility, and the affordability of education. An important lesson that we've learned is building a team at GiveCampus of people who care about that mission, which I think we've done very well, has been extraordinarily impactful. You know, we are a tech company, and there are people who like to work at tech companies. And then there are people who really deeply care about the mission of advancing education in this country and beyond. And I think one of the reasons we have such a wonderful team right now is we have a team of folks who isn't just energized by working at a great tech startup, but is also very energized by the end result of the good work that we do.
Excellent. Well, Kestrel, you could be doing anything. My heavens, you're a bright, capable guy. Why this?
Well, if you'd asked me 5 years ago, what's the chance that you'll be running a tech company that helps schools raise money, I would have laughed. You know, I had a 9-year career in Washington, D.C. before starting this company. I consulted with the U.S. government on national security issues, so I could not possibly be doing anything more different from what I used to do. And GiveCampus came to me through personal experience. I was about 30 years old, and a very good friend and I, a friend from college, recognized that neither of us were giving back to our alma mater, and that most of our friends were in the same boat. They were not giving back either. And that seemed odd to us. We were all doing well. We had high-paying jobs. Few of us had debt, and if we did have debt, paying off the debt was not a particularly big challenge for us. And we all loved the school or schools that we went to. And Mike, my co-founder, Mike and I started to wonder, well, if people like us aren't giving back, what about everybody else? And we got into some of the data around giving to education and learned that, sure, over the last 20 years, a declining percentage of people in virtually every demographic have been giving back charitably to educational institutions. And that struck us as a pretty big problem. You know, something that maybe if we could help solve or at least meaningfully address would have a real value for society. We were also energized by the business opportunity. You know, based on our personal experiences, we could see that schools needed help with fundraising. They were not succeeding, especially at reaching younger populations and successfully cultivating a culture of philanthropy for education amongst people between the ages of 20 and 40 years old. So when Mike and I saw this convergence between an exciting business opportunity and an opportunity to create a company and deliver value that would do something good in the world, we were excited, and that's why we ultimately chose this path.
Fascinating. Well, I appreciate you sharing those insights, Kestrel. What is your superpower?
Well, I certainly don't have any personal superpowers. I like to think that I have pretty good gut instincts, and I'm a good judge of character, though, which is certainly proving to be a very important part of running this company, because a big part of my role today as our company scales and tries to serve more and more schools all around the country and around the world, it has actually become building our team. And so evaluating people, not only their skills, but their character and their personality has become something that I'm still working on. So definitely not a superpower, but a new skill that I'm excited to get better and better at over time.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Kestrel, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today to introduce us to GiveCampus. Before you go, would you take just a minute and tell people how they can learn more about GiveCampus and how they can connect with you personally?
Absolutely. You can go to www.givecampus.com. Very easy. That's where you can learn more about our company and what we do for schools. And you can reach out to me personally. It's just my first name, Kestrel, @givecampus.com.
Fantastic. Well, Kestrel, thank you so much for being here with us today. We wish you every success in helping educate all of the kids in America.
Thanks so much, Devin.
All righty. Let's do some good.
Thank you for listening. Devin Thorpe's mission is to end extreme poverty, improve global health, and mitigate climate change before 2045 by finding and sharing the stories of those who are doing the most good. You can join with other listeners to accelerate Devin's mission by visiting helpdevin.org right now.